video that we've had in the last few minutes of what happened just outside a McDonald's, which is right next to the Olympia shopping centre, that, as you can see, the person who filmed this then catching the shots actually being fired. Frank Gardner, our security correspondent, is still with us. Frank, from what we've seen and heard over the last few minutes, is the picture of what's going on and what has gone on any clearer?
A little bit, yes, although until they catch the attacker or attackers and actually hopefully catch them alive and find out what their motive is and actually work out how many casualties there are, i.e. how many dead and wounded, that's still a major question mark. I think what is very clear here is that despite the heightened threat from terrorist attacks across Europe, Germany was unprepared for something on this scale. Munich, as you heard there from Lena, it's a relaxed, happy city. I'm sure you've been to it. Southern Germany tends to be, Bavarians are much more relaxed than people are in the north of Germany. It's the home of Oktoberfest. It's a very easygoing place. It's close to the Austrian border, and no one would have expected something like this, despite the fact that back in 1970, of course, there was the Munich Olympics attack by the PLO on the Israeli team, but that's ancient history for most people. That's 2 generations ago. So clearly there was no physical security on the shopping centre, as indeed there is on most shopping centres around the world, despite what's happened in Nairobi a few years ago, despite what happened in Mumbai, and despite all the other terrorist attacks around the world. And I suppose it does prompt the question, are we now going to see almost, well, perhaps not airport-style security, but more rigorous procedures rather than simply monitoring people? Because if you talk to people in security at, the people at commercial security who look at CCTV at shopping centres, they'll say, well, we look out for people who might be possibly looking up to, or perhaps filming to see where the cameras are. They're looking out for, as she said, pickpockets, thieves, things like that. But there's nothing to stop a determined person coming in. So that may now have to change, very sadly, which of course is going to lower the standard of living for people all over the world if that happens.
Right, for the moment, thank you very much. We need to speak to Victor Wood, who's a Briton who lives in Munich and was at the shopping centre this evening. Victor, welcome to BBC News. Tell us what you saw and heard.
Well, I was leaving the shopping centre from the side entrance at about 5 minutes to the hour. And as we were about to go into the U-Bahn, we could see shooting going on. It started as we were coming out of the shopping centre. We didn't actually see who was doing any shooting. There was a building in between us. But when I got out of the U-Bahn a few minutes later, there were lots of police cars and so on going by. And well, that's when we realised what had happened. The shopping centre itself is like an L shape. The main entrance is in one corner. We came out the other side. It was quite busy, a lot of people in there.
And what was the reaction of the people who were shopping there?
Well, we didn't hear any screaming or any shouting or any confusion. But as I say, we were leaving from the side exit, so it was actually hard to see a great deal of what was going on. But I've looked on the local media since then, and there's reports of somebody having come out of McDonald's and shooting a handgun, and possibly of a second attack in Munich. There's no real details on that at the moment.
No, indeed. We understand that police are saying that they don't know whether they're looking for one or more gunmen, and the location of the people involved isn't yet known. How quickly did the police get onto the scene? Did you see them arrive?
No, we'd already left by the time that this all got called out. But I would imagine that it took about 4 or 5 minutes, because I say 2-3 minutes later when we came out of our metro station, the police were already in full flight going there.
We understand that the underground network has now been closed, but you managed to get away before you got stuck.
Yes, we had one of the last trains probably.
How obvious to you was it that these were gunshots that were being fired? We've had some unverified footage from a mobile phone that makes it very clear that it was gunshots, but when you're there, often it's not what you're expecting, so people often report that they didn't realise what it was.
Well, before I came out to Germany, I've been in the Air Force, and one of the things you do in the Air Force is obviously learn to use weapons. so I was quite used to the sound of gunshots, and for me it was definite. You don't get that sort of sound otherwise in a city.
And how well equipped is Germany to respond to instances like this? We were just hearing from a local reporter who said, for us, events like this are something that happen in other places.
Yeah, well, that's the same for everybody. No one expects something like that to happen in their front garden. I think generally Munich or Germany is well equipped to handle such things.
But the security presence, generally speaking, in Germany, what's it like?
It's fairly low key. Every policeman has a weapon. But